So we built and deployed a timesheet application that allowed contractors and approvers to generate and approve timesheets and also generate invoices in just 6 weeks. So how did we make that happen? Now, around November 14th last year, an existing client reached out to me asking if we could help them build an application to replace their back office operations. They had this timesheet system that they had subscribed to where they have their contractors and approvers used to generate timesheets and invoices. So they reached out to me asking if we could help them build such a system from scratch. And I was like, yes, we can help you build that. But then the client added, they needed the system built and in use by the end of December. And this was November 14th. So we had like maybe 6 weeks. Now you would think that would get me panicking and a bit discouraged about it. But instead, it got me excited. Because you see, when you have real deadlines and a real need, then it's easier to talk to clients when it comes to making plans, making commitments, and having targets and estimates. So that really got me excited. I was like, yes, we can certainly help you build this system from scratch in 6 weeks. And by the end of December, the system was deployed and it was being used by contractors and approvers, and they were generating invoices, and getting paid through it. So what did we do to make this happen? There are 3 key things I think we did that were instrumental in making sure that this was a success. Now, the first thing we did was we compressed communication. Now, in case you don't know, communication costs a lot of time when it comes to software development. Your software project or product development is going to be a success or not, depending on how well communication is handled. Now, when it came to compressing communication, we did it in 2 ways. One was when we're trying to understand and document the idea, and the other way we compressed communication was how we're building the system. Now, with understanding the idea, what we did was we made sure that the client, our designers, the project managers were all in the same room. And of course, we did all of this remotely. It was online. So we're all in the same meeting, same room to discuss what the idea was and what their expectations were. So as soon as something came out of, the mind of the client, I had my team listening, documenting, asking questions, and going over and over. We had 2 or 3 of such meetings, and we did that in a space of about 3 days. So we all came together and we brainstormed, captured the idea, documented it. Ideally, you would have one person, maybe the project manager, talking with the client, and then they go back. The project manager now talks to the UI designer. The UI designer does the design, and then you get feedback. No, we put everybody in the same room, and we had all these discussions, in a very short space of period of time. Now, we also compressed time when it came to working with the development side. And how we did that was we made sure that all the developers were brought up to speed as to what we wanted to build. And during development, we made sure that all the developers were working at the same time synchronously. Even though we're working remotely, we're using a synchronous approach to development. So at the moment there were any issues or things that needed to be dealt with, we were all online. We're able to get on a call and resolve issues right there, right then. Nothing like posting things, waiting for someone to send a response and all of that. No, we were there for 2-3 weeks working like this every single day, always in sync. We also made sure that we made frequent deployments. So this is the second reason why we're able to get this built. And by that, I mean, we had between 5 to 6 deployments to production every day. So as soon as something was built, it was tested right away and sent to production. And there were several times where development was going on at the same time we were still understanding what the client wanted. So there were times where something comes out of the mind of the client, is documented immediately, and later that day, that feature goes into production. So the second thing we did was to make sure that we had frequent and constant releases to production. Now, the third thing we did was to make sure we released the software to users as soon as we could. I think by the end of the 3rd week to the beginning of the 4th week, we got real users onto the platform. Development was still going on, but we had features that were ready to be used by real users. So we got users on, and of course, the moment users start using your system, you start getting valuable feedback. So we were getting input from the client on what they wanted and expected, and we were getting feedback from the users, real users. Some were like bugs that were not working so well, we were able to fix those, while some were certain suggestions which we were incorporating right back into the system. So, and don't forget, we did all of this remotely. I never met the client, I never met the developers, I never met the designer, I never met the project manager. We're spread all across the world and everything was done remotely. So we're able to use this approach to build this system and deploy it within 6 weeks. Now, actual development was probably around 3 to 4 weeks, as the first 2 weeks we had discussions and then we had those workshops which completed in 3 days to understand what the client wanted. But at the end of the day, by the end of December, the system was up and running. It was deployed, it was linked to the client's other systems. They had contractors coming in there, signing up, creating timesheets, submitting timesheets. You had approvers on the other end viewing these timesheets, approving them, declining them. And we had invoices being automatically generated and sent to the relevant parties for payment. So if you have any need for custom software development and you're watching this video, then please reach out, let's talk, and we can help you achieve very similar results. As long as you're able to understand what you want, we have the expertise in-house to help you build and deploy these kinds of solutions.